Hi, this is Thea, and today, once again, I am continuing the series on making picks, and I did this using a couple of different methods. I did one by hand and one with the Dremel. And there are definitely some things to keep in mind if you are going to use power tools of any kind, especially regarding heat buildup and personal safety. So I will go over those throughout the video as they become relevant. So I used the 800 grit 3M sandpaper for clearing the scale off and all the residue from the heat treat. And I didn't film this for very long because it was super uncomfortable to work around the camera with this particular one. So I did just continue on with this one with using a manual method like that, and as you can see, it works pretty quickly. So it it's a great method to use, and it doesn't create enough heat that you have to be worried about it, and it cleans off that gunk right away. You can continue longer than I did if you want to have a mirror polish on it, but I personally like the aesthetic of the patina that the heat treat puts on it, so I did leave as much of that on there as I could while still having it be a smooth piece of steel. And I also used a Dremel method, and I was fighting a losing battle with the autofocus, so I apologize for that. But I used a Dremel with a cloth wheel attachment and some polishing compound on a different one. And the thing to keep in mind there is that, again, it needs to remain cool enough to touch. Normally, I hold on to the pick and the Dremel while I'm doing that, but it's easier for the sake of filming if it's all done in a vise. And my reason for that is that then I can easily cool the pick down when it gets too hot by dunking it in water and then just wiping it off with a paper towel that's sitting next to the bowl of water that I have. So it does go quicker that way, but uh, the faster it is, the faster it also ruins the whole project if you're not super careful. And once I'm done with the polishing, I make sure that I haven't messed it up by taking a micrometer to it, and it is exactly 25 thousandths of an inch still. And then the other part that I polish apart from the sides is the edges, because I don't want those to get caught up on pins and give me some false feedback. And that happens when there are still jagged pieces of metal from the process of making it along the pick, and those will catch on things sometimes within the keyway that will make it feel like you're picking something, but you're actually not doing anything with it. So I do always polish that off, and I recommend doing that with any commercially produced picks as well, because they usually come right out of the laser cutter and go directly into the handle and on the shelf, as it were. So that again can be done with the Dremel, and it can also be done by hand using a strip of sandpaper. And that can be made from the same piece of sandpaper that I was using earlier. And you just kind of rock it back and forth over the edge of the pick like that. Again, being super careful not to go too far or too fast because it really does eat away the metal really quickly. And all you're trying to do is smooth it out and round off those edges just a bit. And it can be a little difficult to get it into the inside curve of the pick, but you basically just have to use your thumb or a finger to push it into the right shape while you're sanding it. Uh, and it's not really appreciably slower than using the Dremel, just because you do have to stop to cool down the edges when you are using the Dremel for that. So that's also something to keep in mind there. If you do have a vise, it is way easier to do this. Here are the finished pics, and as you can see, they are plenty smooth by the light reflection, but they also retained some of that patina that happened in the heat treating process. And that is all I have for you today. If you like that video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you haven't already, do subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave those below. And be sure to check out the first video in this pick making series for how to win these picks once they're done. And I have that linked here.